What's going on, guys? My name is Ryan Hamilton. You're watching the Panda MX-5 channel, and today we're going to be installing the Willwood Big Brake Kit on my 94 Mazda Miata. So I have the Willwood Big Brake Kit from Flyin Miata. I have the 6-piston front caliper upgrade and the 4-piston rear. So definitely some meaty brakes for a little tiny car like this. It has the 2-piece front rotors, all the extra bolts and fittings, stainless lines, proportioning valve. The only thing the kit does not come with is a master cylinder, which I'm getting a different one anyway because I'm doing a booster delete, no power brakes, just foot power only. So make the engine bay look a little cleaner, that kind of stuff. So we got everything out here. We're going to start installing them. Going to just start with the fronts because that's what I felt like doing. So go ahead and get the brackets on and then start mounting calipers. Alright, so we have to put the rotor little top hat piece onto the actual rotor just because it's a 2-piece rotor. So when your rotors go up bad on these, you just take the screws out, place the ring, and keep this center top hat piece. So we just put all these in, use red Loctite, tighten them in a star pattern, and then torque them to 25 foot-pounds. That's what Willwood says to do, so we're just going to go ahead and start doing that. Alright, so I got the rotor all put together, torqued to 25 foot-pounds all the way around in a crisscross star pattern. So now there's these little rotor adapter rings just because the center diameter on the rotor is much bigger than the hub on the axle stub here. So they give you these little adapter rings to put on there. It's basically like a hub ring for a wheel, like a hub-centric ring. But just so these don't get stuck, I'm going to never seize the back of it, and then the flange right here on the actual upright itself, just so it doesn't get stuck if I ever need to take it off or replace the rotor or something. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll slide the rotor on and continue with the installation. Boom! We got brakes! Alright, so now that we have the rotor all the way on and assembled, I'm just going to start throwing the caliper on there. You put a bolt, a washer, and then you shim it like in between here and the bracket, just so it centers itself over the rotor. You want the gap between here and here to be the same. There is a left and right caliper. This is the left. You want the larger of the pistons at the top of the rotor. When it's going forward, you want it at the exit end. So I'm just going to go ahead, start bolting these in, messing around with the shims, make sure it's all lined up properly. Alright, so now that I had the caliper test fitted on there, I figured out how many little shims I need and everything just to center the caliper over the rotor. Make sure the pads aren't going to scrape or anything like that. You have to take it back off, put the pads in from the bottom, and there's these little retaining clips that go through like that and hold the pads in. So there's a little retainer clip on it like that on the end, springs in like that. So I just used a little teeny tiny flathead screwdriver, pop those out, pins just slide right out. So we're just going to go ahead, drop the pads in right here, put the pins and little clips back in, and then get the caliper officially mounted with Loctite, torqued on and everything onto the bracket, and then this side will be almost done. Alright, so the first side is officially done, the first corner I should say. Everything's all on there, everything's torqued up, everything's got Loctite on it, pads are in. Now it should be a little easier. I'm just going to go ahead, bust out the other side, and then we'll move on to the rears. There's no like instructions or anything for the rear, so we're just going to have to figure those out, but it shouldn't be too hard, it's just brakes. So I'm going to go ahead, do the other side, and then start on the rears. Alright, so starting on the rears here, I already went ahead and did the other side just because there was no instructions, so I kind of know what I'm doing for this side. So we have the little caliper adapter bracket just so it fits the bigger 4-piston calipers for the rear. Bolts onto the stock uprights right here. The included bolts. I just had to dig around, figure out which bolts worked, which ones didn't. So you bolt that on with a washer, some Loctite. I torqued it to the same as the front ones with 40 foot-pounds. Then you mount the rotor on here. It doesn't have any set screws for some reason. I don't know why, but the wheel will hold it on, so it's not that big a deal. And that bolt, the caliper bolts on right here with these. There's these really long Allen screws for that. I just put some Loctite on those, and then it's all done. The rears are way easier than the front for some reason, probably just because it's all one-piece stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead, start mounting this bracket, and then move on to everything else. Alright, so now we're gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna never seize where the rotor sits just so it doesn't get stuck on there over time. We'll mount the rotor, and then start putting the caliper on. Alright, so now we're just gonna throw the pads into this rear caliper here. You just remove the pin way easier than the front ones. Again, for some reason, I don't know why they decided to make these so easy. Then you just slide your pads in, put the pin back in it, and you're all good to go. No problems, no hassle. Alright, so we have the full Willwood Big Brake Kit put on the car. 6-piston front calipers, 2-piece rotors, and the rear has regular NB Sport rotors with a 4-piston caliper on it. I do have the race spec track only brake pads in here. There's an option when you order the kit to, if you want street and track use or track only. I did get track only, even though I'm probably going to drive this on the street, but it's a full race car, so it doesn't matter. I want track only. But we got everything all on here, everything's torqued up. The only thing I don't have is the screws for the rotors, but I'm probably not even going to worry about those because the rear doesn't have them either. And once you bolt the wheel on, it's all good to go, so not that big a problem in my eyes, so probably not going to worry about it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.